Hello and welcome to another edition of News Showcase. I am Priya, Tamil Nadu's first artificial intelligence news presenter. The Supreme Court has ordered the State Bank of India to release details of electoral bonds by Tuesday evening. It also said the details should be published on the website of the election regulator by Friday. The court said the state-run bank will face contempt proceedings if it failed to follow its orders. The court's grim ruling was in response to the bank's request, seeking time till end of June. The court also wanted to know what the bank was doing in the past 26 days. On the 15th of February, the Supreme Court declared the electoral bonds program was unconstitutional and that it infringes on the right to knowledge of the people. The anonymous funding method was introduced by the government with the aim of keeping unaccounted cash out of the country's political system. Reports say Saudi Arabia has announced the start of the holy month of Ramadan, and the religious event is also underway in Qatar and the United Arab Emirates. In India and a few other countries, including Pakistan, Oman, Malaysia and Brunei, it is expected to begin a day later. The start of the holy month is decided on lunar calculations and the sighting of the new moon, in line with Islamic practices. During this month, Muslims fast from sunrise to sunset, pray and engage in charity work to demonstrate spiritual devotion and self-discipline. It is practiced by all adult Muslims, but the elderly, the sick and those in the midst of travel are exempted. Oppenheimer emerged as the biggest winner at the 96th Academy Awards, taking home 7 statuettes including Best Actor for Cillian Murphy and Best Picture. After receiving 13 nominations, the movie also won Best Director for Christopher Nolan, Best Supporting Actor for Robert Downey Jr., and Best Original Soundtrack. Poor Things won awards for Best Production Design, Makeup and Costume Design, and Emma Stone won Best Actress for her role in the film. Divine Joy Randolph, star of The Holdovers, was named Best Supporting Actress. Barbie, last year's highest-grossing movie, picked just one award for Best Original Song, created by Billie Eilish and her brother Finneas. Ukraine won its first-ever Oscar for 20 Days in Mariupol, and Zone of Interest from the UK won the Best International Film. India's President Droupadi Murmu has begun a state visit to the Indian Ocean island of Mauritius. According to the External Affairs Ministry, the president will be the chief guest at the National Day events in Port Louis, and she is the 6th Indian head of state to preside over the celebration since the year 2000. It said the visit underscores the long-standing and enduring ties between India and Mauritius. President Murmu and Prime Minister Pravind Jugnauth will launch 14 projects in the country, which are backed by India. According to reports, the president will hold bilateral talks with government leaders and meet with top parliamentary and judicial officials. She will also pay tributes to Mauritian leaders and visit historic landmarks during the 3-day tour. A petition in India's Supreme Court has challenged the appointment of new election commissioners expected later this week. The suit was filed by a lawmaker from the opposition Congress party, whose action was based on a court ruling in 2023. The move comes after Election Commissioner Arun Goel announced his surprise resignation at the weekend, and another, Anup Chandra Pandey, retired in February. After the exit of the two men, the election regulator is left with only one commissioner, just weeks before the country is expected to vote in general elections. Election commissioners are appointed by India's president on the advice of a panel, which includes the Prime Minister, a federal minister, and a member of the Congress party. India and 4 European nations that are not members of the European Union have signed a free trade agreement. According to India's Commerce Minister, the agreement with the European Free Commerce Association will result in investments worth 100 billion USD. Norway, Switzerland, Iceland and Liechtenstein make up the trading bloc. The declaration coincides with the final 2 years of FTA negotiations between the UK and India. Negotiations lasted nearly 16 years before the deal was reached. In exchange for investments spread over a 15-year period, India will remove the majority of the import taxes on industrial goods from the 4 nations. It is anticipated that the investments will come from a variety of sectors, such as manufacturing, machinery, and pharmaceuticals. According to reports, the expansion project was initiated in 2019. After new facilities were added, the airport now has 24 entry points and 22 contact stands to access departing aircraft. The new sections were inaugurated by Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Sunday. According to reports, the project symbolizes India's aspirations, and the terminal would serve as a pivotal gateway to the emerging opportunities of India, fostering closer global connections and enhancing the country's economic potential. The airport, which sits on an area of over 5,000 acres, has 3 active passenger terminals and a cargo section. South African cheetah Gamini has gave birth to 5 cubs at Kuno National Park in Madhya Pradesh. Federal Minister Bhupender Yadav said that the total number of Indian-born cheetah cubs has gone up to 13. He lauded the officers and staff members at the park in Sheopur for ensuring a stress-free environment for cheetahs. Earlier in January, Namibian cheetah Jwala gave birth to 4 cubs at Kuno National Park. Cheetahs were declared extinct in India in 1952, and a project was launched in 2022 to bring them from other countries. In that year, 8 cheetahs brought from Namibia were introduced in India under Project Cheetah. Subsequently, 12 cheetahs from South Africa were also translocated and released at the Kuno National Park in 2023. The Railways has said that a special service of the mountain train to Ooty will begin at the end of March when the tourist season begins. Ooty, known as the Queen of Hill Stations, is a popular tourist destination in the western hills of Tamil Nadu. According to reports, the Nilgiri Mountain Railway, which is popularly referred to as the toy train, will operate its special schedule from March 29 to July 1st. The train, which runs on narrow rails, is painted in distinct blue and starts its 46-kilometer run from the Metupalayam base camp. It travels along a scenic route with stunning curves, amazing bridges, and breathtaking mountains. The train is driven by British-era steam engines and sometimes by diesel-powered locomotives. Ukraine's foreign minister said his country will never raise any other flag than its national colors of blue and yellow. A spokesman for the Vatican clarified that the Pope was talking about negotiation and not surrender as a means of ending the conflict. Ukraine's envoy to the Vatican likened the Pope's remarks to those who supported negotiations with Adolf Hitler in the aftermath of World War II. Poland joined the issue and suggested the Pope should also ask the Russians to show courage and pull its troops out of Ukraine. Indonesian airline Batik Air is under investigation after both pilots fell asleep for 28 minutes during a flight from Sulawesi to Jakarta in January. The pilots, who have been temporarily suspended, were reportedly exhausted from caring for their newborn twins. Despite the Airbus A320 briefly veering off course, it landed safely with all 153 passengers and crew unharmed. Medical tests indicated the pilots were fit to fly, but the quality of their rest was not determined. Batik Air has been strongly reprimanded by authorities and urged to pay more attention to their crew's rest time. The airline insists it operates with an adequate rest policy and is committed to implementing all safety recommendations. The incident follows a 2019 event when a pilot from the same airline fainted, forcing an emergency landing. The Tibetan government in exile has held events to commemorate the 65th Tibetan National Uprising Day. According to reports, about 4,000 Tibetans, including monks, nuns, and foreign supporters, gathered at the courtyard of the main Buddhist temple in the city of Dharamshala in India. Australian and German lawmakers also attended the event as special guests, which was organized by the Central Tibetan Administration of the government in exile. According to the organizers, the anniversary has been observed since 1959, and many Tibetans were killed when the uprising broke out in Lhasa, the capital of Tibet, which is controlled by the Chinese government. The Tibetan diaspora in India is said to have reduced to 85,000 after many migrated to the US and other Western countries, while some returned to China. Thank you for watching. I am Priya, Tamil Nadu's first artificial intelligence news presenter. Do tune in, same time tomorrow, for a roundup of the latest news and updates in India and around the world.